Okay, I have a sharp knife, I have a citrus, I think I'm pretty much ready to go. Welcome everybody, welcome to the Voodoo Garden once again. My name is Ray, I will be your host, and no, this is not a lemon by Monsanto. This is what's called a pomelo. And for those of you who have never seen a pomelo, which included me until recently, a pomelo is, from my understanding, and my understanding, by the way, is about to get a lot better once I slice into this thing. A pomelo is very similar to, I don't know, a grapefruit maybe? A very thick-skinned grapefruit. That's the best I can imagine from what I've read and from what I've seen. And a friend, a viewer, sent me a pomelo in a box. He grows them, and this isn't from a grocery store. This is a pomelo grown on a tree. And when it arrived, it was barely ripe. He said, you got to make sure these things are ripe. So he sent this. I opened up a box, and there's this big yellow thing, and I didn't know what to make of it. So I sniffed it. When in doubt, stick your nose in it. And it had no smell, which kind of disappointed me because I love good smells. And I thought, I don't know what to do with this. So I set it on the counter, and I left it there for about a week and a half. And I noticed that as time went on, every time I walked by it, I kind of smelled something. So a few days ago, I smelled the bottom of it. And it's kind of softer now. When I got it, it was rock hard. And now it's a little bit softer, kind of like when you leave oranges in the fridge just maybe a day too long. And I thought, ooh, it's ripening. I didn't know that these things actually ripened more when they sat on the counter for a while. I just learned something. So I thought, ooh, this would be perfect for a Voodoo Garden video, wouldn't it? So I'm going to slice into this thing. Yes, I am. And actually, no, I'm not going to slice into it. I'm just going to start it with a knife because I don't have any fingernails. I have this weird thing about keeping my fingernails short. I am crazy about it because when I was digging in the, oh, you're going to hate this. I know you're going to hate this. Some people are just going to hate what I have to say. Okay, so I'll just say it. When I was digging in the, this really creeps me out. It gives me those weird goosebumps. Okay, these are tubs underneath this blanket, and this is where I keep my potting soil. Well, one time at my old house, I was digging into the potting mix, and I was mixing it all up. I'd hydrated some coir, I had some potting mix, I had some vermiculite, I was having a good day, and I'm mixing them all up together, and I reached my hands in there. Oh, God, I hate saying this. I reached my hands in there, and I went to scoop it up from the bottom because you got to bring the stuff up from the bottom, mix it all up, and it was my, I think it was my pointer finger. My nail was just a little bit long, and it bent back. Yeah, oh, I know. A lot of you are going, oh, no, you said that. Yeah, some of you have done that. You've actually had longer nails, guys or girls. And your nails are kind of wimpy, you know. They're not really that strong, and they kind of bend the wrong way. And boy, that'll just creep you out. And every time I think of that, I don't like it. I don't like it. So anyway, from then on, I keep them insanely short. So getting my fingers into this is really kind of hard. Boy, this is like peeling. Oh, wow. Smells like an orange peel. Well, it's a citrus. So, of course, it's going to have that citrusy smell to it. But it's got a really thick skin. Take a look at the skin. Wow. That is thick. And when I would peel oranges as a kid, I've loved oranges ever since I can remember seeing oranges, because I was born in California, by the way. Yeah. And I think my grandma had either an orange tree or a lemon tree or a lime tree or something like that. A lot of people actually have those trees just growing in their yard. Yeah, you can get free oranges all over the place. And so I love citrus of all types. But when I was a kid, I started eating the pith, that white stuff. A lot of people don't like that. They go, oh, that's nasty. Well, I don't know why, but I always loved it. So I would always peel an orange and scrape that off with my teeth and then go for the juicy part. But I wanted you to up close because this is fun. This is probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing for me because I really never thought about getting a pomelo, but having so many friends throughout the world, I get some strange things mailed to me, and I enjoy all of those. And sometimes I like to share these with you. So this is what we're doing today, right? And I don't know why I'm yelling. I got a microphone on. And the reason I sound like I'm really grunting here is because this is tough. This is, I know a lot of people would probably just slice into the fruit, but I don't want to do that because I'm having too much fun. Oh, wow. You know, I got to show you this, and then I'll talk while I do it. Wow. You open this up, and it is full of seeds. Absolutely packed full of seeds. Now, most folks nowadays, the younger generation, they're used to getting seedless oranges. And it's very rare that you actually get an orange full of seeds. But you know what? Us old folks, remember, all of you old people, back in the day, we didn't have seedless oranges. No, we had oranges with seeds in it. And that's what you do. You'd peel off a slice of orange, you'd put it in your mouth, and you would pull it back and get all the seeds in your mouth, spit them out. Then you could eat the orange slice. But this is definitely not seedless. This is not any kind of weird hybrid. This is not GMO. This is not modern day science or anything. This is an old-fashioned fruit. This is how all citrus used to be, loaded with seeds. Okay, smells like grapefruit, so I'm pretty much prepared for something that's going to be a little bit tart. Wow, that's a pleasant surprise. And you know, the weird thing is, when I was moving the camera up, before I moved the camera up, I edited that part out. I bit a little piece of the rind and the pith, and boy, was it sour. So I was pretty much cheating, and I was ready for the fruit to be sour, because I figured if this peeling is that bitter, this has got to be something that's going to make me go nuts. And no. You know, if you were to take a grapefruit and not put sugar on it, but if a grapefruit were like halfway between a grapefruit and an orange in sweetness, you know, not quite as sweet as an orange, but not as tart as a grapefruit. There's no tartness in this. That's the thing. It's a mild, citrusy, ever so slightly sweet taste. Wow. I like this. I like this a lot. I was going to tear this thing to shreds, and just to get the seeds out. You know, the thing about it is, with the pomelo, well, with this pomelo, it's my only pomelo, and I'm liking it. But the thing with this pomelo is, it doesn't have a lot of juice in it. It's all fiber fruit. It's not tough, but it's not full of juice at all. You could probably get maybe, I don't know, a quarter cup of juice out of this whole thing, but it has good flavor. I like this. Okay. Ray's not going to sit here and just peg out on fruit all day. I have things to do. And, boy, that's fun. But I am going to take these citrus seeds and I'm going to germinate those. And by the way, for those of you who have questions about how to germinate citrus, if you peel an orange or lemon or lime or any kind of citrus and you take the seed out, be very careful. Rinse it off with water. Get all of the citrus and the slime, or not slime. That sounds gross. The juice off of it, okay? And then dry it off gently on a paper towel or something. If you take your fingernail, if you have fingernails, unlike me, you can peel the outer, it's almost leathery, the leathery skin off of this, and there's a seed inside of this. You think this is a seed. This is not the seed. This is the seed coating. And you can peel off that outer part. Take that seed that's on the inside, place it in soil, bury it about maybe a quarter inch underneath the soil, keep it warm like regular room temperatures and slightly moist, and within, I'd say, 1 to 2 weeks, you're going to have yourself a citrus tree sprouted, and then treat it like any other plant. So there's a tip for you folks. You can grow these things indoors, and that's the thing, you can grow these indoors. They're wonderful for growing indoors. As long as you have decent amount of light, room temperatures, you're fine. It doesn't take anything special to grow citrus, but enough of that, okay? The pomelo was fantastic. Boy, I really appreciate this. Thank you for sending this to me. You know who you are. And I really do appreciate it. But I have some new additions. I have some new additions to the Voodoo Garden. And I want to start right here real quick because I don't want to go on and on and on. I know my programs tend to go on a long time. So I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet and interesting. I was at Home Depot yesterday, and boy, was it a long, grueling, horrible time. I love going to Home Depot and Lowe's because I love those big box stores. They have everything you could possibly imagine and then more. And I like more. More is better than less. Anybody that says less is more has never had more. So more is definitely better. I went there and they just got in their spring plants. So they got all the little bedding plants and all this stuff. And whenever they get those in, they get the indoor plants. And I've always been a sucker for indoor plants. They had stuff on sale. One of them is something that you may have seen in just about every florist shop, every greenhouse, every indoor plant section, and it's what's called a croton, C-R-O-T-O-N, croton. And it's a tiny plant. Well, they actually do grow quite large. It's a small plant, and it has very colorful leaves. The leaves can be any shape. They can be fiddle-shaped, they can be oval-shaped, but the one thing about a croton that I find fascinating is that on one plant, all the leaves are not like one color, one pattern. One leaf will be yellow, one leaf will be green, one leaf will be red, orange. It's a rainbow of colors on these things. It's a fascinating plant. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. There are 2 plants in here, by the way, so they look a little bit cramped. I'm going to be taking these out and putting them in some water, swishing them around, getting the roots separated, and plant these in separate pots. They put 2 plants in each pot to make it look really full, but in the long run, grouping plants like that doesn't work out very well for the plants. The plants definitely need room to spread out, but the new growth on the inside is nice and green, a light green. Look at the leaves though. As the plant gets older and bigger, the color in the veins is going to get more striking and more varied. The back of this, nice and red. It's a beautiful plant, and it's very easy to grow. Now, for those of you who might want to try and grow something like this, a croton, it appreciates bright light. It can take some full sun, but they generally, in my experience, now I'm going by my experience, I'm not going by what Wikipedia says or anybody else says. I've grown these before, and here's a little something that you guys don't know. Well, you may not know. I've mentioned it before, but in case you're new, back when I was in my 20s, yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah, they had plants back when I was in my 20s. When I was young, I opened up a very small indoor foliage store. Yes, it was a brick and mortar store, and its name was Gumby's Garden. Yes, I sold indoor houseplants. I would buy smaller houseplants, raise them a little bit, repot them into decorator pots, and then resell them. I would take them to flea markets and sell them. People love that. So I had this little business going. It got so big, it started in my basement. Then I went into a brick and mortar store, and I did that. I did that for about a year. It was fun, but I was not a businessman. I was not a businessman. I was a great plant grower, and I loved talking to the people. That was one of the things that I loved the most. People would come into the store, we would talk, and we would talk about plants. That was the fun for me. But I was not a businessman. So the business kind of collapsed. I grew all different kinds of plants, and one of the nice things about growing indoor plants, and this was in Denver, by the way, when I was growing these plants and selling them, I would go to wholesale nurseries. And I'm not talking about the nurseries that you go to get your plants for your garden or anything like that. When I say indoor, I mean wholesale nurseries, what I mean is they have these huge greenhouse after greenhouse after greenhouse after greenhouse of indoor plants. When you see a plant like this, you'll see like maybe 1,000 all together of this size, then 1,000 of the size bigger, and 1,000 of the size bigger than that. Then they go on to the next plant, then the next plant, the next plant. They have thousands of different plants, thousands of each size and each type. It's amazing. It's like going to Disneyland for plants, and they have the prices there. You bring this big, long push cart, like you normally see at Lowe's to carry lumber, and you load up your plants and you buy them in bulk. So I had a retail sales tax license. I would buy them in bulk wholesale and sell them retail. Yeah, I had a blast, but it wasn't for the money. You might think it was for the money, but I really wasn't out to make a lot of money. I was just out to be around plants, and that was paradise for me. I think that's probably why I like this voodoo garden so much. It kind of takes me back to that, only there's no stress of having to actually pay my rent. This little booger, and I do say booger, this little booger kind of freaked me out because I picked it up, and these are one of those little plants that usually cost you like $1 or $2 or something like that. I picked this thing up, and a fungus gnat flew out of it at the store, and I laughed. I was there all by myself. Mike the dishwasher was over looking at the tool section. I was in the plant section. I picked this thing up, a fungus gnat goes out, and I laughed because I thought, give me your worst. I was laughing like a maniacal scientist because those of you who joined me here, you know that I had this fungus gnat thing going on. And one little anemic looking fungus gnat flew out, and I thought, I'm not scared of you, so I bought this thing anyway, and I brought it home, and I'm going to transplant it and put it into my soil that has my predatory mites in it, so I don't really care about fungus gnats. Normally, I would scare the living daylights out of me, but lately, now I've just been going a little bit crazy. This is what's called a jade plant. For those of you who have never grown a jade plant, take a look at this up close. This is a jade plant. This cute little bugger. Yeah, and I do say little bugger because look at how tiny the pot is. Yeah, it's one of those little why bother pots. This is called a jade. A jade is a common plant, a common house plant. You'll see this in just about every store. They're very easy to grow. These are what's called succulents. This thing like mother-in-law's tongue, prayer beads. There's a whole slew of succulents. Succulents are one of the easiest plants to grow, and they propagate so easily. You break off a piece, it goes into the soil, it sprouts roots. Yes. I've grown this before, and I started out with a very small plant like this. Now, back in an older episode at a former house, in the background you may see this really huge jade plant, and of course the stems get really fat. I grew a jade plant to a really large size, but I didn't bring it with me when I moved. I know, people are probably grumbling about that, but no, I didn't. So I decided I'm going to get me a teeny tiny one that's starting out. I'm going to show you how I grow this, transplant this, and grow it indoors for those of you who want to grow this. Me showing you a prize-winning plant, a big, huge plant, is nothing, because that's not really teaching you much. It's just kind of showing off. Now, I'm going to show you from the beginning. We're going to start with this, and those of you who stick with me, I want you to mark this, okay? We got a tiny plant here. One of these days, it's going to be a monster, and we're going to look back and go, hey, remember when it was this big? Yep. Well, this is the day. It's this tiny. I shall call you tiny. Yes, I shall. But okay, in all seriousness, a jade plant. A jade plant likes bright to full sun, bright filtered light to full sun. But if you're growing indoors, just grow it by a window. They love the heat. Okay, so some plants, if you put them close to a window, the leaves will burn because that heat is really treacherous. A jade plant loves bright filtered light, or it loves full sun. I like bright filtered light because then you don't have to worry about watering them. You don't have to worry about any kind of problems with them because, when they're by a window, it's like an oven over there. But they love well-drained soil that's got some food in it, but not super, super, super rich. You want to make sure they have plenty of root space because their roots will grow. Water them good, let the soil get bone dry, then water them again. Do not keep their soil moist. They are succulents. They are used to this cycle of feast or famine, okay, when it comes to water. So they get a lot of water, they shove it into their leaves, and then they're ready for the drought season. That's how these grow, and they grow the best that way. Now, there's another one. You've seen this before. I'm going to lean over here and try not to fall on my face. I have a pothos growing over there. You've seen that. I started out as a small plant, transplanted it into a bigger pot. And I'm showing you how it kind of vines around, and then you put it back in the soil and the leaves get bigger. It's doing wonderful. That one is a gold and green. This one here is white and green. It's like the most beautiful. Take a look. I'm not going to jump over this thing again. No. You're just going to have to look from there. This is a small pothos. Now, pothos are a vine. And vines go nuts. The thing about pothos, like I mentioned with that one, it's good to get a small one, and then you can transplant it into a larger pot. As they grow, each part of the stem, if you look at it where the leaf nodes are, you're going to see little bumps on the bottom. Those little nubs will grow roots if they touch the soil. So when I get something like this, I like to put it in a larger pot. And that way, when these stems start growing out, they grow along the soil in that large pot, and they will grow roots. And by the time they reach the edge, they're a nice, strong, healthy plant. They fill it out, and then they go draping over the sides. That's how you grow pothos. I'm going to transplant this later today. And I got one more. Yep, I got one more. Well, I couldn't buy every plant there. Come on, I'm not rich. And plus, where am I going to put it? And if you're wondering, why do I get these small plants when I could just get big, beautiful plants? It's kind of like when I was doing my Praxis episode. I mentioned that it's the journey, not the destination. I've had really huge plants. At my house in Bruno, Minnesota, I had what was called a monstera, a split-leaf philodendron. Those of you who watch my older programs, you saw this in the background. It was this monster, and it had huge, insanely ginormous leaves. I grew that from a little tiny plant. It was a little tiny plant like this. I grew it from that to the monster, and then it had nowhere to go. I got rid of that plant. I transplanted it outside to give it one last summer of growing free. I know people aren't going to like that, but I'm pretty much used to that. I grew it to its full size. I couldn't take it when I moved. It was just way too top heavy, and the pot was way too heavy, so I transplanted it out into the yard. Now I'm going to start these from small ones and grow them to large ones, and since I have no intention of moving, and I mean that this time, they are going to live out their lives here. Here we go. This is a beauty. I've grown these a long time, and I am very partial to these. You'll see these in a lot of office buildings and in people's homes. This is called the Dracaena marginata. I know, I'm impressing you with my Latin. All of these have Latin names, but this is also known commonly as a dragon tree. You'll see these with green leaves, red margins on the sides of the leaves, or the lighter colored ones that are light green with pinkish or salmon color. Yep, they come in all different styles and sizes. These are just babies. There's 2 of them in the pot. Now I'm going to jump this thing and show you this up close. Yep. And by the way, these are very soft leaves. They're not like yucca leaves where they're going to poke you, or like pineapple. They're very soft leaves. They have leaves that go all the way to the bottom. Now I'm going to show you how I do these plants and how I grow them. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how I transplant this and how I grow this successfully. Some people have these in their house and they have problems with those. I have some tips and I have some ideas with these things that can get you to grow these so beautifully, so perfectly, and so healthy, you'll never have a problem again. So tune into the next episode and I will do an in-depth, up-close transplanting of these and show you how to get them started and get them off to the best health, because there's something you can do with this that you may not know, and you probably don't know, and it's going to scare the heck out of you, but it's going to be the best tip you ever got for growing these in your house. And one last thing. One last thing I want to show you on today's episode. I know you're seeing all these plants and you want to see those. I want to show you these plants, but I can only do so much in an episode. Otherwise, this is going to be like a 3-hour episode. I have so much to show you. So I'm going to finish off by showing you this thing. Next episode, I got to have something for the next episode to keep you coming back. The next episode, we're going to do a transplant on the dragon tree, the croton, my little booger, and the pothos. I'm going to show you how I transplant those to get them to get a really good start. I'm going to show you, especially the pothos, how to transplant, and then show you the other one to give you an example of what it looks like after this procedure goes, because I can show you a procedure, but I like to do the follow-ups if possible. And I'm going to show you the follow-up. You're going to like that one. So stay tuned. Next episode. Then the episode after that, I may be talking a little weird right now. I know, so Ray's talking kind of strange. Well, the reason I'm talking kind of strange is because I was watching the Praxis episode with the compost. I noticed I used the word "and" a lot. I don't like that. And oh, there you go. See, it's one of those things. Some people say and so. Some people will say something else. Everybody has their little thing that they overuse. I don't like to have something that comes out of me that people are like, hey, he said it again. So I'm trying to not say "and" quite so much. I'm gonna get the hang of this. I'm gonna get the hang of this because I think that I can talk better than that. So I don't want to be saying "and" all the time. But I want to do the transplant next episode. The next episode after that, you're going to definitely want to come back. There are some things going on in the voodoo garden. Yes, there are some things going on. We got the impatiens that's starting to burst out in flower and song. We have a plant over here that I'm not going to mention its name. You've seen it before. Everybody keeps asking me, Ray, why don't you grow one? Ray, why don't you grow one? Guess what? I've been growing one. You're going to have to tune in to find out what that plant is over there. There are all kinds of fun things going. We have a spider plant that's starting to flower. Did you know spider plants can put out flowers? You think of them as just putting out new plants. They're going to flower. I'm going to show you the flowers, as a matter of fact. But one last thing, so make sure you tune in for that as well, okay? But one last thing I want to show you. This is what's called, it goes by many names, but all of the names usually end up in darn it, because nobody wants this growing in their yard. There is a plant that's normally called a moonflower, and it's normally white. I believe, I don't know, I'm just going off the top of my head. Isn't it called the gypsum weed? But it's also called datura. That's the name. Datura or sacred datura. Whatever the names are, farmers hate those because they spread like weeds. And people don't like them in the yards because they're very poisonous. The seeds are poisonous, the leaves are poisonous, the leaves stink and everything. But I grew this before, and I'm growing this now because I enjoy it, but I also want to show you and demonstrate to you that noxious weeds, things that are deadly, things that are dangerous, it's all a matter of perspective, and it's all a matter of care. You can grow so many things if you use your common sense and the brains between your ears to, like this, for instance. They say, oh, if you eat the leaves, it can kill you. Hey, guess what? I'm not going to shove this in my mouth today, and I may not shove it in my mouth tomorrow. I'm being facetious, I'm being sarcastic, but that's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about common sense, it's very common. You know what? When I touch this, I wash my hands. So I'm very careful about how I grow things that can be dangerous. I grew belladonna, deadly nightshade. I grew that before, but I was very careful about it. I'm still alive, so apparently I did something right, or I didn't do it too awful wrong. But I wanted to show you this, all right? This is something that a lot of people wouldn't dare grow, and they would definitely mow it out of the yard. But look, it's a beauty. It really is. This is called a double purple datura. The reason they say double is because the flowers are almost like carnations in there. And as beautiful as this thing is, I'm trying to hold it still, as beautiful as this thing is, it really is a work of art. As beautiful as that thing is, I know, look at my little fungus gnat trap, I caught 3 of them. But as beautiful as this thing is, the smell is 10 times better. Oh, you cannot beat the smell. You stick your nose up to this, anybody that's grown these, you smell these and you are hooked. The smell is addicting. Yep, it absolutely is. It fills this room. And I could never imagine the voodoo garden without this smell wafting through. I said waft. Yes, wafting through the room. It really does make me smile, and it brightens my day. Yeah. It really is a nice plant. So I wanted to show you that because it's in bloom, and it won't be in bloom next time. I was going to show you on the next episode, but the next episode, I don't know what's going to be happening. I'm kind of winging it all the time. Okay, that pretty much wraps it up. I wanted to show you the pomelo because I want to hurry up and eat this and get it done with and maybe get the seeds growing. And I also wanted to show you these because, I said and again. One of these days, I'm going to hold a contest. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I should do that. And maybe give away some pomelo seeds. I should actually hold a contest and find out if people are actually paying attention, because some people post comments at the bottom of, underneath the video. I was going to say and, but the questions have to do with exactly what I was talking about. There I go again, and. Boy, that's really hard to do. Now try that. Any word that you say a lot, try to focus and not say that. But I really should hold a contest one of these days for people to watch the video and see how many times I say and in an episode and give away prizes for that. That would be kind of fun. I think I'm going to do that. That just sounds too stupid to pass up. And if it's too stupid to pass up, it's definitely something you're going to find here in the Voodoo Garden. But that ends it for today, everybody. I got to take care of this because it's drying out and I don't want my food to dry out. I'll talk to you next time in the Voodoo Garden. Don't forget, tune in next time. We're going to transplant. We're going to have a good time. And I'm going to say and. I'm going to say and I'm going to say and a lot in the next episode. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I really do appreciate it. This is Ray in the Voodoo Garden. I'm out of here. And